Show respect, step back, no need for space invasion. Stop saying your room number at the day's end. Let the girl dance, that's really all she came for. $1 million dress probably came from the thrift store. Even though she seems to be exactly what you wish for, she's never coming in on your transistor. Don't matter if you're rich or piss poor, she's out of your league and in a different sport. The answer is no, you ain't got a chance. She's out of your league, just let the girl dance. No sleeping aloud though, you just get a glance. Don't try to swim game, yo, just let the girl dance. The answer is no, you ain't got a chance. She's out of your league, just let the girl dance. You can watch her soul blow from a distance, but give her some bass sign, let the girl dance.
Hey everybody, I'm Randy Silvas.
And I'm Tony Mollick.
Welcome to our Slotrods Season 5 debut, and what we're calling our Father's Day Fun Race.
Previously we had an episode of Back to the Streets called the Father's Day Massacre.
And that was our street division race from this past Father's Day. Yeah, those street cars might not be as fast as the Pro Mods, but they are much lighter in the front end, and that led to calamity and chaos.
However, today we're going to look at the Pro Mod race. And they weigh a lot more in the front end, and we're hoping that makes all the difference.
Yeah, by this time of day, people weren't being too picky about crossing center. If it wasn't blatantly seen, nobody was saying anything about it.
At the end of the street race, everybody was cross the center. Now we're just concerned about trying to get them across the finish line.
When we left you at the end of Season 4, it was the last night of the Underground Point Series and the establishment of the Experimental Pro Mod Top 20.
And there was a dispute between two cars for the 5th and 6th positions.
We promised you that would be dealt with the first episode of Season 5.
And we are nothing if not men of our word.
So, here's the Harry Olds versus the Tazinator for the 5th and 6th positions on the EPM 2024 Top 20.
They left at the exact same time, but the Harry Olds immediately began to put distance on that El Camino.
And Harry Olds takes the 5th spot, leaving the Tazinator at number 6.
And here's the top 10 cars from that top 20.
The Mach 5 sits on top as reigning champion, followed by Banshee, Dark Phoenix, All Notes, Harry Olds, Tazinator, Blue Bayou, GT, Marrow, and Tyrant.
And here are your contestants for our Father's Day Fun Race. The rules are simple.
You lose twice, you go home. And the last man or woman standing wins.
So let's get this party started with 2 412 cars. Unknown versus Fireball.
Oh, looks like we're opening up with a drag race today. Just the way I like it. But I'm not going to waste the tagline this early in the game.
And a Fireball pulls ahead in the last 500 feet for the win.
Next up, we have the black Pontiac Trans Am called Raven versus the 67 Fairlane called Black and Blue.
Another great start, but the Ford just did not have enough to cover that Pontiac.
I think the rear end's too light. You need some junk in the trunk.
And speaking of junk in the trunk, here's that Y-Booty 51 Chevrolet called Slick Trick versus the Chevy pickup called Blue Bayou.
Looks like that junk in the trunk got you the jump.
Had about a half a fender on him at camera 2.
And then she got squirrely and all hell broke loose.
It most certainly did.
And that gives Blue Bayou the win. But Slick Trick did manage to tumble across the finish line.
Nice.
Next up, we have Jangalang versus SOB.
I managed to get out on him at the start.
And you drug his ass for a quarter mile.
Rolling up to the starting line, we have the current number 5 in the EPM, Harry Olds versus Blah times 3.
Blah, blah, blah. Blah stole the hit.
But Harry was hot on his tail. Oh!
Looks like the Camaro disqualified himself by crossing center late on his side.
Yeah, even on a day like today, you gotta call that one. Up next, here's a couple of genuine pro mods, right down to the drag bars.
The stretched out rear engine El Camino called Son of Troublemaker versus the 1948 Henry J. Gasser called Great Gas. Ooh, what the hell kind of gas you running in, old Henry J?
Grape, it's in the name.
And Grape Gas stretches out SOT for the win.
Up next, we have a car that puts the experiment in experimental pro mod. The Mopar with the drag wheels that look like rolling pins. The Sin Duster.
Versus Big Daddy and his Chevy 2 called Killer Nova.
Well, Sin Duster got out on him.
And managed to seal the deal at the finish line for the win.
Up next, the GTO called Vengeance versus the Camaro called Tyrant.
The GTO got out about a car length off the start, and he still had that car length at camera too. And now two of our ladies draw each other. Annette Kane in her Mini Cooper called Mini Me versus Gail Gardner in the appropriately named Gail's Vet. And that Vet looks familiar.
That used to be Bat 2, but I sold it to the Gardner Racing Team, where it got a facelift, a new paint job, as well as new gears and a new drivetrain.
So basically, it's a whole new car. Now that's a drag race.
Mindy Me crosses center and Gale powers ahead for the win.
Up next, father and son. Mark Rendos in the split window Vet called Weathered versus Jake Rendos in his arachnid-inspired T-Bucket called Nightmare.
And this race is no disappointment. They were neck and neck for a quarter mile, but Right Lane takes it for the win.
Up next, the heavy Chevy Chevelle called Smirk versus the Chevy 2 called Orange Crush.
Orange Crush gets off the line first.
But Smirk's starting to come around at camera too.
And then Catastrophe.
Smurf gets all out of joint and takes flight. He goes right over the cliff into certain doom.
Hope he's all right for the next round.
Up next, the last race of round one. Flamethrower versus Cherry Pie. Cherry Pie races the wheels off of it, literally.
The wheels come off the front end of Cherry Pie, disqualifying him, and the left front tire knocks Flamethrower out of the groove, sending him spinning off the track.
And over the edge into certain doom to join Smurf.
Here are the cars that lost in round one with the red line after their name. And they must win in order to stay in the race. One more loss and they go home.
To certain doom. Round two, race one. Black and Blue versus Tyrant.
Black and Blue was sleeping at the line, and Tyrant took full advantage of it.
No wonder he couldn't catch up. His rear end was all over the lane. And that gives Black and Blue his second loss, and he's the first racer to be taken out of the competition.
Up next, the Pontiac called Vengeance versus the 32 Ford with the Cobra Jet power plant called Cherry Pie.
Well, you managed to keep the 32 in the lane that time, but it looks like you need a little more top end if you're going to be riding with Vengeance. And Cherry Pie goes out of the competition.
Up next, the Harry Olds versus the Unknown.
Rolling.
And now it's Harry Old's turn to take a trip off the rails.
And Unknown goes A to B for the win, and that gives Harry his first loss of the night.
Up next, Fireball versus Nightmare.
Fireball hesitates, and Nightmare evacuates.
And that's Nightmare by a school bus, giving Fireball his first loss of the night.
Entering the starting gate right now, Marrow versus Raven.
Did them guys just cross and switch lanes?
We always say let the girl dance, but those two danced all over the dang track.
And a do-see-do is not allowed in drag racing. So, who crossed first?
Well, the drivers determined Raven crossed first, so he gets the loss.
Good enough. Rolling up next, Orange Crush versus Smurf. I can't believe Smurf got it back together for the next round, but here we go.
Orange Crush takes off like a dart.
And then once again, everything goes to hell.
Orange Crush flies off the track and right over the edge, but Smurf crosses center, DQing himself, giving Orange Crush the expensive win.
Smurf takes his second loss and is knocked out of the competition.
He's dropping like flies now, Randy.
Only the fast survive. Up next, Jangalang versus Blue Bayou. Woohoo! Blue Bayou was sleeping.
And at this point, there ain't no time for sleeping.
Blue Bayou was on the edge, out of control, but he managed to get it across the finish line.
Giving Blue Bayou his first loss.
Up next, that crazy-looking Sin Duster versus Slick Trick. I hope Slick Trick don't have another catastrophe.
Don't jinx him.
One's rolling.
Well, not as much of a catastrophe as the last one, but Slick Trick takes his second loss and is knocked out of the competition.
And Sin Duster makes a perfect pass.
Moving on, Gale's Vet versus Killer Nova.
Gale's Vet gets out first, and Killer Nova knocks the tires off at the start.
And spinning ain't winning.
That Vet's rear end bounced all over the lane, but she managed to keep it straight for the win.
Killer Nova takes his second loss and is eliminated.
Up next, Son of Troublemaker versus Son of Blue Streak.
Both cars are all over the lane, but SOB takes the win, forcing SOT out of the competition.
Up next, Blah times 3
Blah, blah, blah.
versus Mini-Me.
Blah 3 smacks into Mini-Me and GQs himself.
Fortunately, he bounced back into his own lane and saved the car.
Mini-Me also crosses, but by then it didn't matter. The race was already over.
Giving Blah times 3 his second loss, knocking him out of the competition as well.
Two very fast cars move to the starting line. Grape Gas versus Weathered.
They left together, but it looked like the ass end of Grape Gas was bouncing off the starting line.
Which let Weathered get out in front of him. And an unintentional change in lanes by Grape Gas just seals the win for Weathered. Next time on Slotrods, we'll bring you the conclusion of the 2024 Father's Day Fun Race.
Until then, I'm Randy Silvas,
And I'm Tony Mollick.
and you've been watching
Slotrods.
The answer is no, you ain't got a chance. She's out of your league, just let the girl dance. No creeping allowed though, you just get a glance. Don't try to swing game, yo, just let the girl dance. The answer is no, you ain't got a chance. She's out of your league, just let the girl dance. You can watch a soul flow from a distance, but give us some space, son, let the girl dance.
Now that's a drag race.